Hello and welcome to the Fibonacci free video for Friday, June 2nd. This is David, and hey, let's take a look at Nvidia, right? Everyone's been watching this pretty closely since its earnings last week. And when we view the earnings move and post-earnings move through the lens of the Voodoo Lines, right? The Voodoo Lines incorporate Fibonacci and very long-term Elliott wave patterns in order to generate a system of levels that we can use to assess support and resistance. And these levels are here for very long periods of time. The levels which include the fire lines, these are the most important of the Voodoo line levels. And so they're pretty few and far between. There's a fire line down here at 263 and one up here at 380 and 69 cents, which we're going to be paying attention to because these levels were here long before Nvidia jumped up to new all-time highs here last week, right? These are not based on any previous price action at these levels because last week is the first time we ever saw these levels, but on earnings, it jumped up and opened pretty much right at this fire line, and it has been roughly holding that level ever since, right? So came above, and you can see came and tested and held. The next day it tested and roughly held. And even after the bigger gap up last week, or smaller gap up, but smaller than the earnings gap, but gap up last week, it came right back to to feel for that fire line before turning back up again. So we know that we had this level pinpointed ahead of time, and I think we can watch this this support to see if it holds to gauge what's next for Nvidia. And look, as Nvidia is one of the names that's been up strong this year and is helping propel the indices, I think this is also a name where we can use the behavior at these fire lines to assess how the market is holding up as well. When we get to the premium video in a few minutes, I'll review the reasons why I still have some long-term concerns for the market, but note that we are in a short-term uptrend. And I think one of the warnings that that uptrend might be coming to a close would be behavior in Nvidia that starts to break and find resistance below that. Below the Voodoo fire line at 380.69. So to be clear, I'm not just talking about a little spike back below like we saw back here and like we saw here, right? I'm talking about moving away from getting below and bouncing into some resistance below that fire line and starting to head down. The further down it goes from the fire line, the more that I will be convinced that it's that it's giving it up. And we use the other smaller degree Voodoo lines to assess that, right? So the next most important degree after the fire lines are going to be these tree lines. The next one down is at 335. Right. And the next most important level are going to be these snow lines. So you can see we ran up into a snow line here, and that's what sent us back down to the fire line. If we get above 408.41, that would be an indication that that Nvidia was pushing away from the fire line to the upside. Meanwhile, getting below 363.55 and finding resistance below would start to indicate that it was pushing away from the fire line to the downside. Nevertheless, this is the most important level in the area, and I do think that watching the behavior here can give us those longer-term clues in the market. And therefore, if it does start to give up the fire line, I think that would be a warning. So long as it holds above, we can certainly look for Nvidia to stay aloft and perhaps the market as well. So I hope you found that useful, and I will see you at the next update.
Hey, David here with Simpler Trading. Thanks for taking a few minutes to watch this video. I hope you found it useful. And if you did, please help us out. Click the like button. You can also add your comments below. We love to read those and respond to them. You can also click the bell icon. That will alert you whenever we have new and updated videos. And if you want to watch us trade in real time with our own money, you can visit simplertrading.com to learn how to sign up. Until I see you again, as always, good trading, and we'll see you at the next video.